Vice President Shettima solicits citizen support to actualize programs and policies of President Tinubu's administration.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu is neither anti-North nor anti-Islam.
Inspector General of Police meets other security agencies, reiterates commitment to protecting peaceful protesters.
We are doing everything possible to make sure that we stop any violent protest in Nigeria at this time.
Senate queries 4.2 billion naira allocation to of verified workers at Ajaokuta in 2024 budget.
The extent of the compliance and performance of GINL in line with the terms of concession agreement.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall discuss planned protest, call for caution, plus gender-responsive governance.
As Nigeria teeters on the brink of a nationwide protest scheduled for tomorrow, Thursday, August 1st, the nation holds its breath.
Well, the planned demonstration, spearheaded by a coalition of civil society groups, labor unions, and concerned citizens, aims to draw attention to the country's pressing issues, including economic hardship, insecurity, and governance concerns.
The Center for the Promotion of Private Enterprise has warned that the August 1st, 2024 protest could inflict an estimated daily loss of 400 billion naira to the economy if not properly managed.
Indeed, with tensions running high and the potential for chaos looming large, the question on the lips of many is, can this protest be averted? What are the grievances driving this movement? And can the government address them in good time to prevent a nationwide shutdown?
This is the focus of Good Morning Nigeria today as we delve into the complexities surrounding the proposed protest. We'll examine the demands of the protesters, the government's response, and the implications for Nigeria's stability and progress. Welcome to the program. I am Ademola Adeoye.
And that's not the only focus for today. We also have another topic, which is gender-responsive governance, in the second part of the program. I am Victor, so let me also welcome you to today's program. We are reaching you on the network service of the NTA. Soon enough, Chukwudi Okoli-Ubaja will join us for the newspaper review, but that will be after highlights of the news with Dennis Adegunloye. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning, Victor and Ademola. Good morning, Nigeria. Here is the morning news. Vice President Kashim Shettima has solicited the support of Nigerians for the actualization of the programs and policies of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration, insisting that the president means well for all Nigerians. He stated this when he received representatives of media practitioners from the northern part of the country on a courtesy visit at the presidential villa. The Vice President spoke on the planned nationwide protest, acknowledging that the rights of citizens to protest, noting, however, that it has its own demerits that are not pleasant.
A religious nation, and we have to see to the coloration of all tendencies. He loves the North. He is working for the North.
Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetukun at a meeting with Departments of State Services and heads of other paramilitary agencies has reiterated the commitments of the force to protecting peaceful protesters during the planned protest.
In those places where police stations were burnt down, women could no longer come out once it is 7 p.m. because they get raped on the streets. That is not the experience we want again. So we are doing everything possible to make sure that we stop any violent protest in Nigeria at this time.
And in view of the security implications of the proposed nationwide protest, The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badr Abubakar, has appealed to Nigerians to shelve the protest and embrace dialogue. The minister made the appeal while addressing journalists at the Ship House in Abuja, noting that past protests resulted in security breaches and mass destruction of public property.
From experience, most of mass protests usually end up in chaos and violence, and that is what we are trying to avoid. The President has been only 1 year in office, and he has done wonderfully well over this period.
In line with the federal government's resolve to revive the steel industry, the Senate has opened an investigation into the current state of the Ajaokuta Steel Company Limited. At the commencement of the hearing, the legislators raised questions over the 4.2 billion naira appropriated to the company for personnel costs for what they called unverified workers in the 2024 budget.
Somebody must be paying the salaries. How do you fund them? And under what heading?
We also have to look at the share, sales and purchase agreements between the federal government of Nigeria and Global Infrastructure Nigeria Limited and Global Steel Holdings Limited. Also investigate the extent of the compliance and performance of GINL in line with the terms of concession agreement.
President Bola Tinubu has directed security agencies to work in synergy against kidnapping and other security challenges across the country. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, re-echoed this while receiving rescued kidnapped victims in Abuja.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave us directives, an order for all of you to come together and work as one. We are seeing the benefit of it, and we are working. Things have improved greatly. Government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is working.
Well, those are the highlights of the news at this time. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Ademola and Victor. After this break, please don't go away.
In a land of peace and harmony, we cherish our freedom and unity. But around the world, we've seen how protests can spiral into chaos. What starts as a peaceful protest can sometimes end in anarchy, tearing communities apart.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Let's learn from these experiences. Let's value dialogue over destruction. Together, we can build a brighter future. Let's choose unity. Let's choose peace. Join us in the Peaceful Future Initiative, because together we can make a difference.
A new edition of TV Guide is out.
This time, we got up close and personal with the transformational legislator, the Deputy President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Barrow Jibrin.
We've created a difference terms of representation through interventions that have brought an unprecedented infrastructural development to my area.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more.
It is indeed a park of excitement as we take you through every aspect of life. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space.
TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
NTA Television College Jos, with a pedigree of producing indelible professionals in the media space and an affiliate of the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, for the award of degree in mass communication, calls on prospective candidates to leverage on the following courses it offers for 2024-2025 academic session. BSc Mass Communication, those with minimum admissible score of 180 and above who sat for the 2024 JAMB/UTME and direct entry, while 100 to 179 minimum admissible score can apply for the National Innovation Diploma NID in Film and Television Production, Broadcast Journalism and Television Engineering. For more inquiries, visit our website www.nta.tvcollege.edu.ng or call 0803 383 4343. Announcer, Registrar.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we swear in colors, we stand down in demand, we make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Diversity is unique, we have more than just solution.
We are Nigeria, strength in unity, we know they carry last. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next on the program is Newspaper Review.
Time for newspaper review with Chooks the boy, Chukwudi Okolubaja.
Hello,
seated
Victor.
And scribbling away.
I am grateful to Providence that you remembered Chooks the boy. I've not heard it for some time, and I was getting a bit sullen about it. Hello, welcome back, live boy, live man, live boyhood to the likes of.
But you are the boy.
Demola, you're welcome back.
Thank you, Chooks.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
You're a gentleman. I wish I could be like you.
Oh, no, just be yourself.
All right, let's begin with the blueprint, which on the front page leads with August protest. Police fear Boko Haram infiltration. FG declares prisons red zones. And it has 3 riders. Organizers list Eagle Square, Alausa Park, 6 other venues. Lagos court places restriction on protesters. Learn from our error of judgment. Kenyan bishop cautions Nigerian youth. Okay. And just above the nameplate, MTN shuts down offices nationwide over SIM blocking outrage. That story is on page 21. And then 4.2 billion naira personnel cost for Ajaokuta steel shocks Senate. Okay, everybody's in shock. And finally, on the front page of the blueprint, some sports. Olympics. Egypt peeps Spain to reach men's football quarterfinals. And our Super Eagles, Flying Eagles are missing from there. And let's go to the leadership then. I think I'm done with the blueprint. Crisis in Senate as Ndume refuses office relocation. That story is just above the nameplate of the leadership newspapers. And beside it, on page 21, I am willing to work with Wike if. To get details of that, find it on page 21. It's according to Senator Kingibe. And the major headline here reads, 24 hours to go. Regional leaders reject planned hunger protest. That's on page 4 with 4 riders. 9 Niger Delta states back out. FG declares prisons red zones. Conveners reject IGP's confined protest proposal. 4,200 policemen deployed in Abuja. And then there's this other story just above the major one. Obaibena Amuka, others seek monetization of media intellectual property. That story is on page 7. Well, I think I should leave it just here. Quite a number of other little stories here and there, but let me leave it here.
Okay, Victor, thank you. Let me just, I have the Nigerian Tribune, and above the nameplate, we have the 80,000 applications received for 110 billion youth investment fund in 72 hours, federal government. That story can be found on page 3. Federal government suspends import duties, taxes on essential food items. Details can be found on page 6 and below the nameplate, which is the main headline, planned hardship protest. Federal government declares prisons red zones. The details can be found on page 2 and 30. IGP advises against street processions, hold virtual meeting with Falano, Adeworowa, others. Court restrict protesters to Freedom Park, Peace Park in Lagos. Soldiers, police, DSS, others in show of force in Ibadan. Handle protest with caution to avoid repetition of NSAS. Anglican Primate tells security forces. Niger Delta stakeholders distance region from planned protests. Protests have diminished our country, Kenya Bishop. Arik Air kicks as Keyamo orders grounding of fleet. The story can be found on page 3. 2 policemen killed as kidnappers invade church, abduct former commissioner in Delta. Details can be found on page 28. Court dismisses autumn suit against Benue government. Jakonde Memorial Lecture, How Media Can Survive Current Changing Landscape. And finally, nation's crude oil daily production of 1.6 million barrels to hit 2 million barrels by December, NNPCL. Details on page 7. Chooks, it's over to you.
We'll hit 2 million barrels by December.
Yes.
Let's say, I hope it's not the usual optimism. Walk the talk, you know.
I guess
we
they are working towards it.
We need our production quota, production capacity to really heighten. It's very important for the economy at this stage. So let's pray that this time around it's going to work out. 24 hours to go. Let me not say that the nation is in a panic, but definitely we're apprehensive. Where would it go? Did you hear the voice of the Kenyan bishop?
Yeah.
Our era of judgment is not something we want you to adopt in Nigeria. Be careful. And that has been the message here. I said yesterday that I am happy so far. The government has handled the situation to the best of its ability. No jackboots, no intimidation and all that. The Minister of Information, the President, they have said, we are not against people's right to protest. It is how it goes that matters. We just said now, one of you just read, prisons are a red zone.
Yeah.
Because we know that from the past, we know that people use the opportunity to go free people who have been in detention. There's something on Boko Haram might use the opportunity to infiltrate and all that. So these are things that they agitated. And the person accounting to the people all have to bear in mind, as long as they call themselves Nigerians. We have to be strict about these things. Nobody's against anybody protesting. I kept on praising this attitude of people are free. Section 40 is quite,
It's a constitutional right.
Exactly.
And the government is just appealing.
But how do we always handle protests? What level of maturity, morality have we been bringing into it? The Venezuelans are saying, no, Nicolas Maduro, nobody voted for you. 73% of the vote went to your opponent. You didn't win. But since he took over from Hugo Chavez, almost many decades ago now, he has stuck to power. But the point I'm making is, we have not heard yet that Venezuelans are breaking up things. So they have matured a bit. We have not got to where they are. So it's about how much we have matured in terms of handling protests, gentlemen.
You're right.
That's the crux of the matter.
Yeah. And that is what everybody is appealing to the protesters, to just be cautious.
Yes.
And know how to handle, especially the miscreants that may want to hijack the protest. That is just the fear of everyone now.
But I think so far they are listing venues. That's easier to manage. If you have to go to Eagle Square, for instance, go to the Alausa Park, just stay at designated places, and not you're roaming.
I like your
That's easier to manage.
I like your elitist geophysics. I like your location of protests in the metropolitan centers.
But
what do you have for Maraba boys? Look, Victor, Nigeria is essentially a rural setting. This chasing after the super trooper lights of the city does not work all the time. What's going to happen in those areas that cannot go to Eagle Square, that are not even interested in going to Eagle Square? They're interested more in your smartphone.
Wow.
Victor.
That will happen
and
anyway.
that is why government is trying to avert the protest, because there's no way you can predict what will happen.
Please, I didn't say Maraba boys are thieves. I just
but you just said.
I just used them as a hinterland example.
You've got to own it.
Victor, you cannot rope me in.
You've got to own it.
I'm a villager, I'm a rural man, so I cannot.
You cannot totally speak for everybody. You can only speak for yourself.
Exactly.
That's just the thing.
Yes.
We just hope and pray that.
Well, I lost 2 phones there when I was in Jaws.
You said it again.
Maraba. Okay,
and now
let's go.
The federal government suspend import duties, taxes on essential food items. I think it's part of the measures taken by government, to reduce the tension and also to make food available and at affordable prices for the populace. One of the demands of the protesters that the high cost of food and all that. And I think government is taking every necessary steps, to assent to all their requests.
My dear brother, I am not Bayo Nonuga or my friend Ngelali, but my inner person says to me, I wish they could give this government 1 more year to see whether the actions that have been taken won't begin to show us some good fruits. I am talking from inside me, but that's personal opinion. Government has done a few things. I'm not saying this because we're on NTA, we're on air or whatever. It's my own personal conviction. Government has done a few things that are likely, I'm not an economist, that are likely to percolate into that basket of goodies we want. I wish
But it would take time.
they could have given this government one more year before judging. I wish that had happened.
Well, we had this unfortunate news that Emeka, I mean, what's her name now? Okay, all right. So let's, okay, I think the director is calling that we should just round up this.
He doesn't want you to push us into an unfortunate situation.
All right. Okay, Chooks, thank you very much this
Gentlemen,
morning.
Always a happy thing being here.
Good to have you.
I'm going to do all I can to make it to this place tomorrow.
All right.
Because I'll miss you guys.
All right. We'll take a break
I'll avoid
now.
Mararabo boys.
Look at you, rub it in.
We'll take a break now. Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.
Nigeria, a land of rich culture and diverse voices, where every voice matters. In times of disagreement, let's choose dialogue over discord. Together, we can find solutions through understanding and respect. Let's build a stronger Nigeria, one conversation at a time. Dialogue, not protest. Unity, not division. Nigeria, united in dialogue.
Name a common lie on dating apps. I love you. Physical attributes. Gender. My age.
I see skies of blue and clouds of white. I see them blue for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Woo! Name somewhere you'd rather be on New Year's Eve.
With friends.
Partying at a concert.
Family house.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together.
Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country that, God has kept, together as one indivisible entity.
Join body with your football party GoTV for correct goals and action. Ha! Sharply reconnect on top GoTV Max with 7,200 naira to torchlight La Liga, Serie A, Europa, and select Premier League games live on top Super Sport. GoTV, love it.
All right, thanks for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria. And to get our discussion on planned protests call for caution going, let's take this background report by Joseph Oten.
The atmosphere has been tense in the last few weeks across Nigeria. Behind it is the planned 10 days nationwide protest scheduled to begin on Thursday, August 1st. The proposed protest that has not shown its face, but is largely driven by people on social media to draw attention to issues of governance. However, security reports are warning of plans by mischief makers to hijack the demonstration to cause chaos in the country for selfish reasons.
We issue a stern warning to clandestine groups plotting to destabilize the country and hoodlums seeking to exploit protests for their criminal agendas. We will not tolerate the killing of innocent citizens, destruction of public infrastructure and private property.
While the protesters have a right by the Constitution to protest, they do not have a right to galvanize for the unleashing of terror. The military will not stand by and allow anarchy to befall our nation.
A word is said to be enough for the wise, yet in the spirit of patriotism, stakeholders have continually asked those behind the protests to tread with caution.
We must learn from what has happened in countries like Sudan, Somalia, and all these countries. Where are they today?
The government has just spent 1 year in office. Hopefully, when it gets its acts in order, it should be able to improve the living conditions of the people.
Pray that with one faith, one mind, one purpose, that God will really intervene in the situation of Nigeria.
A few days ago, President Bola Tinubu had a strategic meeting with religious and traditional rulers who appealed to Nigerians to deeply consider the possible implications of such agitation on the social and economic life of the general public and shield the protests.
Let them put a face to it and don't let it be hijacked by people that has ulterior motive.
The president listened to us. We are appealing to both Nigerians, Muslim and Christians, that they should be patient. Inshallah, a result will come out.
He identified with Nigerians and their suffering, and he assured that it is for good. In the interim, he has promised more intervention to, ameliorate the seeming suffering of the people.
Different social, youth, and women groups, as well as labor organizations, are coming out to disassociate themselves from the protests, calling on other Nigerians to think Nigeria first and give the government more time for its renewed hope policies to materialize.
Protest is not the answer. We can see what is happening in other African countries.
When hoodlum, hijack such protests, it may lead to several issues. And part of those issues could also be vandalization that we have also observed. And in most cases, people that are vandalized are downtrodden Nigerians.
And the women are the mothers of the nation. That's why we decided to gather, to plead with our children. We don't want to lose any of them.
The watchword has been restrained, and guests on Good Morning Nigeria will speak further on the need for Nigerians, especially those planning the much talk about protests, to exercise caution.
Thank you, Joseph, for the background report there. And we already have our guests seated in the studio to discuss the planned protest call for caution. Let me start with introducing Osita Okechukwu, former Director General, Voice of Nigeria. You're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria, sir.
Good morning.
All right. Also joining us here in the studio is Dr. Yahuza Getso. He is a security, intelligence, and investigation expert, CEO, Director, Forest Criminality Intelligence Center for Security, Intelligence Research, and Community-Driven Development, Abuja, and Managing Director, Eagle Integrated Security and Logistics Company Limited. He wears many caps. You're welcome.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right.
Okay, we have also been joined here in the studio by Mr. Riza Madwekwe, Director, Public Enlightenment and Mass Mobilization, National Orientation Agency, the NOA. Welcome, ma'am, to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody.
All right, let's kickstart our conversation this morning with Osita. Let's look at the grievances of the protesters. Do you think government can meet their request within this shortest time?
Thank you very much. I will start by saying that there is grief, there's hardship, and there's grinding poverty in the country. I cannot come here and say there's none. I agreed. So the protesters have a good case. But they have achieved the major victory. Because there's a raging war between the elephants, the economic elephants or the giants. We can call them bandits. Over 38 years, when SAP was introduced, the federal government had no business in business. And since then, a lot of poverty has been growing in Nigeria. And when we came to 2023 presidential election, the major presidential candidates agreed on what is called the overturn window, that there should be removal of subsidy. None of them said no, even Labour. That is accepted position. Now, what they have achieved in few days is that battle between the giant elephants, where Dangote cried out that my refinery, one of the biggest in the world, is not getting crude. Mr. President said, please, get out 450,000 metric barrels, give to Dangote and other refineries. And as of today, the one we know is Dangote. Dangote couldn't have come into the scene if the NNPC had succeeded. We have 4 refineries. I remember a meeting with President Buhari who said, what are we doing to repair the refinery? He brought the chart of how much he spent. None of them has started. So those who are denying Dangote, the refinery, Mr. President had broken the towel. And it's as a result of this agitation. So for me, they have achieved a lot. If I'm in their position, the next turn is to set up a committee to monitor how it is utilized. Whether it will achieve the intendment. Because one of the goals is that when you are on the right hand, you are selling crude. On the left hand, you are importing refined petroleum products. You're almost empty. Now we're going to save the cost of freight, insurance, of importation, if we rely on Dangote and the local refineries. And that will meet up with their first demand, that we should return back to price. Now I understand as well that Mr. President said it should be sold to Dangote in Naira, which to a greater extent will make the price to be lower. If it's not low, in the next 3 months, the agitators should regroup and query Dangote, the NNPC, and all those refineries. I say, why are we still on the high side? But if we hit the street now, in a battle we lost in 38 years ago, you will only be hitting the polity. And most of these other big people in Nigeria, their kids are abroad. It's me and you that our kids are here. The shop owners, they are not. They are corporate people. So I agree with the agitation that there is hunger. But Mr. President had made the first leg. And that leg should be monitored. What are they doing with 450,000 metric tons and barrels of our crude oil? Are we benefiting from it? If we are not, if they come to the street next time, I'll be part of it. Thank you.
So what about other grievances? Would you say the other grievances are justifiable?
Well, yes, of course. If you take the case of security challenges, for which many people are talking about, which I think Nigerians should deserve to be congratulated, because it is agitation that made the president to start the process of peace building. Why do I say so? He invited the clerics, he invited the elder statesmen, and he started consultation and also advocated for all the governors and everybody at all levels to go for dialogue. And he opened up the door for listening. You know, when you are talking on the peace process, when you have interest on the issues, that is the time when you open door and say, please, have a seat. Let me give you a water. With smiles. And then, what do you need? What are your grievances? The scholars have mentioned very clear, even at the background report mentioned, the clerics have delivered the message of Nigerians and Mr. President have promised. And we can see it very clear. Because I made analysis in the last 72 hours. I have been making follow-up with all the areas where we have security challenges. And it has been testified that in comparison with what happened last year, many of the farmlands that have not been able to be cultivated, nowadays is being cultivated. I want to tell you that there is no single political ward in the whole northwestern part of the country and north central part of the country that bandits have been able to deny or to prevent farmers from cultivating in the entire one political ward. And if anybody have it, she'll challenge me at any other fora. All the political wards. In some communities in Sabombini, Isa, Shinkafi, Zurmi, and many other places where people are being scared, more than 20, 30 communities have gone back. They have resumed back themselves, not because of the presence of the military or whatever. No, but because of the ability of the military to facilitate, and paramilitary and all other security agencies as well as the traditional institutions to facilitate the process of dialoguing and making sure that peace is reigning gradually. And you cannot expect what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made in the last have been happening in the last 16, 17 years for him to fix it in 1 year. And I think we shall acknowledge the fact that anybody who is from northern part of the country or any other region knows that there is some level of improvement. What is needed is to have a state of preparedness. This man is prepared. He has invented new innovative system and strategies, looking at the leadership style of the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Agriculture, who is working hard to also provide agricultural inputs and provide enabling environment, and as well as the Minister of Environment, who is working hard to enlighten the society about the influx of the issues of polluting and other things. So I think Nigerians deserve to be congratulated, and at the same time, I commend Nigerians for voicing out. Because it is only sometimes when you have a wife, you always go and whenever you come with whatever you buy, you drop it on the desk and you enter your room and bang the door and wait for her after 2-3 hours and say, where is my food? Next time when you bring it, she will leave your pepper and salt and Maggi, whatever there. When you open your door, you ask her for the food, then she can ask you, come, let's eat what you have brought in. So I think we have started moving forward. One, President have listened. Two, everybody, we have started see result. Three, there is mass attendance to the issues. Governors are working hard, and there is synergy between the security agencies, much more than what we have experienced before in the years that we left during the former presidents and other times. So I think opening his own door and opening his own ear to listen and allowing each and every Nigerians. Let me tell you one thing. Many of comments made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will tell you that this man, how much time is he having to even go through the social media? Because some of the things that he has been responding is based on the agitations and submissions by this younger generation, future generation, or through the social media. So if you are president, have time to go through the social media, look at the Twitter, look at the Facebook, look at the Instagram, read the TikTok. Even if it is someone that has been dedicated to be briefing him, how many times, if it is you managing your own house and also observing the social media and even striking what your children and your wife is doing in your own house, talk less of somebody who is responding to issues from south-south, from northwest, from northeast, from north central, and everywhere. So I think we Nigerians need to be very, very careful. I have intelligence reports, which I shared with many security agents. The fact that some people have even preempted youth, some group of youth, to go and steal bags of rice, and they made a price of it. So which means they are pushing you to go and break law and order. And I'm sure, as IGP and other security agents have been mentioning, you need to be careful. And up till now, we don't know who is really the mobilizer. We don't know who is really the co-leader of facilitating this agitation. We are not saying that you shouldn't complain, because making those complaints and agitations is what will make the leaders to sit down, to sit to their responsibility, and also revisit many other things. President have approved the review of the salary of 270. He has assented it. So I think Nigerians will need to also consider, between the time when this agitation started, the number of policies that have been reviewed and the number of policies that are being also adapted in the proceeding to ensure that a peaceful transition between the interests of the masses and the interests of the government and the principal philosophy of which President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came in to sit as a president for is realization of Nigeria's unity, Nigeria's peace, and economic prosperity, as well as agricultural productivity. And it is evidence, as mentioned, the issue of refinery. That will boost economy. That will shelve the amount of money we will pay for transportation and whatever, because it's like just we are being enslaved. And this is a huge opportunity for Nigerians, having the refinery. And we hope, we are advocating for other Nigerians who also have the same opportunity to join Dangote, to have a competitive circumstance that will help the price of the whatever. So if you have that competition and fix the refineries, Nigeria's government's own refineries, definitely the price of fuel may probably be less than 100 naira. We hope so.
Thank you, Dr. Getso. I agree with your last point, because a monopoly also doesn't bode well in the long run, even for price. And so let me get Ms. Madueke involved in this conversation. There's been a groundswell of appeal against the protest, that the protest should be shelved. Only yesterday, just the primate of the Church of Nigeria, Anglican Communion, was saying, look, there is a constitutional right to protest, but the conditions are not right for a protest. And then he went ahead to say, oh, if you indeed decide not to listen and go ahead, he made prescriptions, what should be done to ensure that there is no crisis. So what do you think, if the protest indeed goes ahead, how should the protesters conduct themselves? How should government respond? How should security agencies respond? What's your expectation?
Okay, thank you so very much. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Nigerians, once again. Yes, my brother has spoken extensively about issue of our rights of being a protester, if we choose that word today. If you must protest, make sure it is peaceful. And how do you do that? Speaking to one another that we are not for destruction, vandalization of our infrastructure, the places you are passing, you don't attack anybody. The issues you are, that is the issue for you. You write them out clearly and make a very, very organized procession, so that anybody who is passing will also be able to use the road or use the street or use that area and not be what? Feeling insecure, because that's where the security matter comes. Because sometimes you find out that, yes, you are protesting, there's hunger in the world generally. But as it is, take it, yes, there is hunger, there's too much hunger, and there's so much this, so much that. But that does not give us the room to become vandals. It doesn't give us the room to become hoodlums. Neither does it give us the room to become looters or damaging vehicles, electrical poles, destruction of roads, the tarred roads. You start burning tires on them, because when you finish that, the rains are here. It will help potholes to develop. So anyhow, what we're talking about is, if you must, as the word has come forth from the Primate of Nigeria, that if you must, make sure it is peaceful. The security agents must be on ground. Do not attack them, but escort. I will use the word escorting, like they are walking this way, you are walking this way, so that nobody will say, oh, you are infringing on my right to move, to associate, and so on. So they will be on ground too, all of them, and follow suit. If they are ending at the National Assembly complex, yes, when they get there, you are surrounding them. They are showing their placards. It's being read by passers-by, captured by journalists, TV stations and all that. And you'll be shown and be seen to be peaceful. Unless you achieve that, then you are not supposed to go and protest. Protest does not encourage or should not be destructive for any reason. Yes, you are laying out you are speaking out your grievances, as it were, or as it is, but also take cognizance that each destruction takes us back. If you're a Nigerian and truly a Nigerian, you should protect your house. You should not open it for anyhow ills or negative attitudes or behaviors shouldn't be seen in our midst. Yes, the youth are actually our pride. Yes, not too young to run has been assented to. It's not about tomorrow, but if you conduct properly, I am sure seats will be available for you, because you wouldn't take somebody who is not disciplined enough, who does not have refraining, traits. When your temperaments, you cannot put it under control and follow civil process. He said process. There are processes on ground. He talked about political words. We have people who are representing us. These people, you should talk to them. Oh, Mr. A, you are representing my ward. How come this thing is just happening this way? Why don't you people do something about it? When you get to the house, whichever level, whether House of Rep, Senate, House, speak for us, because you represent us. Let's use these people. When they don't do what you want, of course, there's a higher level. You get these steps or these departments or these compacts involved. Let's do it in a more civilized way. We're already hearing, and people are, different groups are appealing to the groups. Yes, even our agencies have been, our agents has been doing things in the communities, engaging the town unions, trade unions and associations, that they should talk to their members, talk to your youth, that please, be patient. We know, we are aware, and that's why the salary thing has been assented to, and he said it should be effected right away. This is going to help. And we know that they've also sent trucks of rice to every state. It's not for you and I only. It's for everybody. So each state is receiving. So why don't we just wait? These things will come to every state. How many states do we have, including FCT? All of them would get their trucks. So if we just give a little more time, many actions will be taken to checkmate some of these inconveniences. I'll put it like that.
Is there still room for dialogue? Is it too late?
It's not late. There's never a time that dialogue is late. Because even in your house, like the illustration he gave, if you just throw things at people, they wouldn't like it. And you expect positive reaction, it's not going to be easily possible. But these groups, they have leaders. Town hall meetings, we have been doing some of them in some of the states. You can attend. Usually we extend invitations to these groups. Please come. Youth groups, religious groups, women groups, and others as they were. And they should come and listen to what is being discussed, and it gives them opportunity to air their views, put up those grievances, because certainly we would always take the report back to the government. Our DG we've been having meetings with NSA. So all these things, the feelers are back. They know. They come back to them. So certainly the dialogue can continue.
Okay.
And should actually.
The dialogue can continue. Thank you, Teresa, for your contribution there. Let's come to Osita now. We know that government has engaged several groups of people in dialogue and negotiations, concerning these protests in order to avert the protests. Do you think the people behind these protests are still like faceless for now? And that's what government is saying. And what else do you think government can do?
No, I think what government can do, as Madam said, it's not a one-day process. What they have done is that they have shifted the battle. For 32 times, the price of petroleum has been adjusted. And each time is on the increase. From less than 1 trillion to about 3 trillion per annum, which are denied other social infrastructure and fiscal infrastructure money, and which have led us to big debt that we're owing today. So the battle today is that with these 450,000 barrels brought to the local refineries, the battle has shifted. If I'm leading one of the groups, I will advocate that today we'll have to work on adjustment for the first time in over 25 years, downside. Now you are getting crude in Naira. You are getting it without transport shipment. We need price adjustment. You shift the battle. Because it's the same refining, as I said, foreign refining, that denied us workers. The way you are importing from Senegal or from Malta, you are empowering the people in Malta. You are not empowering Nigerians. But today they have shifted the base. Let us say the Dangote, Paracord refinery, Edo refinery, there are other small refineries. If you pump in the crude to them, the next agitation should be gentlemen who are managing this. The price should come down. Because the shipment is no more there. On the government side, what are you doing with the money saved? Had it improved our social conditions? If it has not, if you go for agitation, it will make a lot of sense to some of us. But as of today, the advisory, when I looked into the bouquet of their demands, they just said reduce price to pre-existing price. I said it's not a magic. Democracy is not a revolution. It's evolutionary. All the growth made in liberal democracy have been step by step. They have achieved the most tangible.
So that may not be realistic.
The money you are going to save by bringing the local refineries to work is what should be the agitation. Alhaji Dangote, you are no more importing. Your price should come down. And there should be affordable and accessible. Paracord refinery. Otherwise, they were sold before. President Obasanjo sold Kaduna refinery to the same Dangote. I'm not an advocate for Dangote, but as I said, monopoly and antitrust is also a crime. So the rest should join them. We'll bring the price down. We'll save money for our universities, for our secondary schools, for tertiary institutions, more allocation to states. Today, what President Tinubu had achieved as well is that the local council now have direct funding. If we pump in more money to the local council, it's left for each community to muzzle their councillors and the chairman of the council. You are getting more money now. Let it be reflected on our life. I think it's a major leap to change the narrative and the fight.
I think one of the major, grievances of the protesters is the issue of transparency and accountability in governance. Because most of these funds, we don't know how they are being utilized.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
that there should be a change in gear.
Yes, maybe there can be a better dialogue along
Not
that
only
line.
dialogue, that you used to import from the tariff you gave us. You said the shipping costs so amount. The insurance of what is on the sea costs so amount. The demurrage, wherever it's bettered, costs so amount. Reduction of these three items. Why?
It also lead a reduction in cost.
In cost. So for the first time, 1973 to date, 32 adjustments. Up. For the first time, we're not going to change the struggle to getting the adjustment for the first time to go downwards. And it can be done. But if we keep on saying they should do this, they should do that, the world is no more borrowing Nigeria money. If you have 5 naira and you are owing 7 naira and you want to borrow me more, I will ask you, how do you pay? That's where we are. You export crude oil, you get $10. You buy refined ones with about $10 as well. The international market is aware. They know you are poor. But immediately you cut that unnecessary expenditure. Leave about corruption. Corruption should be fought by all of us. You are now presenting clear-cut demand. You are not buying in dollars anymore abroad. Why is it costly here? Why is it not available? Everybody will join you. And not forget that we have a handgun. What is the handgun we have? Democracy. Don't think that you can rig an election every day. We in APC, we appreciate that Nigerian people can vote us out. When PDP was talking of 60 years, one day votes happened there and PDP was gone. So if we in APC assume that we can't be voted out because we appoint INEC, we'll do this, we'll do that, then we'll be fooling ourselves. It happened in India. Modi, the Prime Minister of India, is a very strong character. He thought all would go his way. It didn't go his way. It happened in South Africa. They thought all would go their way. It didn't go their way. So the handgun is democracy as well. If you pull down the roof, you are not giving room for democracy. I think this is the time for the agitators to join the opposition to say PC must go. If we don't make the tangible change, you get us go. Who told you we can't go? You go to Kano and rig an election. You come to Enugu and rig an election. You go to Oyo State and rig an election. How? How would you do that? If the Oyo people are angry, you can't rig an election in Oyo. If Enugu people are angry, you can't rig an election in Enugu. If Kano is angry, you can't rig an election. They say, Malam, we gave you 4 years. You return a crude to local refinery, and you went back and connected with them. Again, you started the thievery. And you want us to vote for you again. And maybe that day there will be somebody who will have a manifesto that we can do it ourselves.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let me get in, Dr. Yahuza. So, government is doing quite a number of things, as Chief Okechukwu has pointed out. But what more needs to be done to address the economic and governance concerns that are fueling this protest?
Well, one of other things that need to be done is to drive a process of ownership. Let's make Nigeria and Nigerians feel we own Nigeria, not to be owned by few individuals at a corner, while thousands, 3 individuals at a corner enjoying, their family succeeding, their family enjoying, while millions of Nigeria on the other hand and the other corner as finding it difficult to have a breakfast, finding it difficult to have a lunch, and even sacrificing their dinner. It is obvious that there is hunger in the land. It is obvious that there is unemployment in the land. It is obvious that we are recruiting, we are breeding criminals and future crimes for not facilitating the process of building the capacity of our youth to be self-reliant. And Nigeria is not a poor country. Nigeria is a very rich country. I have a privilege that I have been to all parts of Nigeria. There is no local government in Nigeria that I have not stepped in. And there is no political ward or polling unit in the whole 19 northern states and many parts of the south that I have not been to. And there is no difficult terrain or hard-to-reach community in Nigeria or Africa that I don't know, that I have not been in person. So I know there are abundant natural and human as well as capital resources available for each and every. I cannot be rich. I may be rich, you may be poor, she may be rich. So all of us cannot be rich. We are not equal. Just look at how we are created.
My only problem is that when you pointed poor, it was me you pointed to.
Well, but when I say ownership, when I say let's own Nigeria, I didn't point. I say all of you, all of us.
So we all own it.
What government need to do is, one, to drive the process of sensitizing, educating, enlightening Nigerian community on how to own Nigeria. How do we own Nigeria? I keep repeating it. Own your polling unit. Own the contenders of APC, PDP, AFGA, Labour Party, NNPP, and make sure that you really own them. Don't allow them to own themselves. One of the critical thinking and one of the critical challenges is the fact that we allow somebody to be the leader of APC at the polling unit, to be the leader of NNPP, the Labour Party, and PDP, to decide for himself. Why can't we come together and decide for ourselves? When you collect a spaghetti, you collect a stipend. You say you put a leaves on your head and say you are for sale. And you collected a little money that you cannot feed you for the next, cannot give you the dinner and breakfast. Then you are deceiving yourself. But when you own the process, let's have ownership. Let's drive the process towards ownership. Let's drive the process towards implementing the process of the policy itself and making sure that it's community-driven, it's Nigerian-driven, Nigerians own, and Nigerians sustain, and Nigerians implemented. I know, like mentioned, yes, of course, we have the influences of IMF and World Bank and other policies. I have worked with international communities for 27 years. And I know their development objectives are always against our own strategic objectives. And they even decide and determine how our intellectualism works and what will be the determining factor of our progress. But at the same time, we say we are enlightened. How can you come and say that you want to fight the president? You want to destroy what your grandparent and your parent established. You want to boggle shops and steal rice, and somebody is even giving you a free price that if you steal 10 bucks, I'm going to buy it at so amount. As I'm telling you, I have intelligence and I have recorded voice and I have recorded video for some of those who are facilitating the anarchy. Because anybody who is advocating for demonstration, protest, we have the experience of the NSAS. And not only NSAS, if for any reason a tire bursts at Ebutameta, or somewhere at Alkali Road in Kaduna, or somewhere in Enugu. The next thing is, what happened? So before you organize people, probably somebody have started stealing from somebody's pocket. So why do we have to be on the streets?
As a security expert then, so how do we balance the demands of the protesters in the need to maintain law and order in this instance?
I think it has been balanced. I must commend the Chief of Defense Staff and his working allies, that is Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Air Staff and the rest. And I must also at the same time commend the National Security Advisor and the Inspector General of Police for taking their time. I'm sure from hours of the morning, from the 1 a.m. to this hour, several times there were repeats of dialogue, and guidance. So the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Inspector General of Police, and all other paramilitary have provided the order. Having the right to protest, it should be. We should go back to the legal lyrics for them to explain what is the right means. For you to understand an English language, it doesn't mean that you can be able to interpret Bible. For you to understand an Arabic language, it doesn't mean that you can go and recite Quran and understand it. You must also learn the other nitty-gritty, other ingredients for you to be able to understand what really the religion is telling you. So at the same time, if you know how to manipulate the gas, why can't you, when you start it, why can't you go and open it and say, I know, since I have the control, it's not the gas that is having the control, I'm the one who is having the control. When you flog on the fire, go back and remove the head and expect your food to be cooked. So it's very simple. We already have a balance. The security agencies have passed the message. The elder statesmen have passed the message. The government itself have passed the message. The National Orientation Agency and other clerics, as well as other well-wishers of Nigerians like me and all of us here, we are saying, let it be peaceful. And be mindful of making sure that you didn't break law and order. There is nobody, no way, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all other security agents, even myself, in my own village, while I'm sitting here in Abuja, I have organized a group and asked them, please, go and make sure that it is not violent. Even if they must come out, let it not be violent. And if anybody started it violently, deal with that person and hand them over to the immediate security agencies. Okay. And I believe marketers here in Wuse Market, marketers in Garki Market, the traders in Kaduna, the traders in Mile 12 and many other parts of the country, they have also reorganized themselves and they are working hard with vigilante groups and other civil security agents, making sure that they protect and provide support to the existing formal security agencies that we have. So a clarion call has been made. So as far as I'm concerned, it is balanced. If you don't understand the Constitution, take it to any jurist around you and ask him to explain what is the meaning of right to protest. Okay. Does it mean anytime I should go out? The police have made it very clear. Go and introduce yourself, open up, go and register your group, and you must have, there is a procedure, not only being the fact that it is right
so
for you to protest.
People must be properly educated.
Yes.
On the, and that's where the NOA comes in now. Yes. You know, when it comes to creating awareness, educating the populace on the need for protest, the processes and all that. And you find out that most of these youths are on social media. Social media platforms. So how do we begin to make use of the social media platforms to actually get the correct information to these youths? Because most of the time, what they get is misinformation. So how are you tackling this challenge?
Thank you so much. What we are also using the social media. As a matter of fact, we do what we ask you to fact check. Whatever you see on the social media, there's a place to, you are asked to go and fact check what you've heard or what you are posting or what somebody posted, to just light up fire there, because everybody is using the social media. Some tweet anything they wish.
Most of the information are unverified and they just
and they
post
just go into the space.
Yeah.
So we also fact check. Even right now, NOA has also, we have a program there for the youth. We say, click into this, a step is there, it's on my phone. For the youth, to make you get proper information, education on government activities, programs, and topical issues. When you click there, questions come up. If you're able to answer it, whether right or wrong, it will clear you. If it's right, it shows you right. If it is wrong, it gives you the correct information. That has been in place, and it is because it is the youth who are actually occupying the social media space, that creation came up and is in place right now. And I want to also inform us here, you know, even in your house where your daughter is cooking, the phone is in one hand, if you observe clearly. When she finished putting it on fire, she sits here. She's busy. So that is in place. We're also asking them, go to this site, get educated on programs, policies of government of your own country. Own it. Make your comment. You are a citizen of Nigeria. You own Nigeria. It's not about APC, PDP, MPP, all the names of political parties. The country is ours, for heaven's sake. It is yours because you are even the larger population. So your voice matters. And not only that, these questions I'm telling you, when you finish participating and you got very high score, there's a reward of airtime for you. So it's not just that you are spending your own data to do this. You are kind of getting a refund for coming on site on this page. So that is in place, because the only way you can get the attention of these youth is to go where they are. It's not to bring them into the studio to chat. They won't be available for you. But they are available on the social media. The technology is their own space. So meet them there, because they are the Gen Zs. They say no grief for anybody. All those things. So go there. Dialogue with them on their own page. Let them stay there and talk back to you. And they will get better information and correct one. Because there are so many things on the social media, misinforming, misleading, disinforming. You know, some people just post some mischief out there, and some of them follow it.
All right.
And tell you that is that. So NOA is doing that, and then in the community too, we engage them face to face for those who want to attend. The traditional leaders will also engage and tell them, please talk to your youth. Do the needful. It's not only to come to Abuja and pledge allegiance and stuff.
Time
yes,
this
please.
Particular topic.
Thank
so
you
let me
much.
quickly get back to Dr. Chifotito Okechukwu.
He's not a chief.
Now, a lot has been said, regardless of what happens tomorrow, whether the protest goes on or the protest does not go on. What are the potential consequences of inaction on the side of God, the part of government, or failure to address the concerns going forward?
If it goes ahead, which we are pleading that it should not, what I advise the security agencies to do, it's not about sitting down somewhere and say they should register. Register where? The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Grand Norm, Section 39, under Chapter 4, 40, 41, guarantees right for peaceful
protest,
assembly, peaceful assembly, movement, expression. So to tell somebody to come and register, we should thank our stars. When I learned that they are negotiating with some senior councils, and they mentioned Falano, a veteran activist, who were with him in Save Nigerian Group, who were with him in 2012, against the same subsidy. They mentioned Adeborowa. I said, thank God, At least I'm not talking ethnicity now. Because he would say Falana is not Yoruba like President Tinubu. So I say, thank God, you have blessed Nigeria. I heard of Effiong, Inebeng Effiong. I say, good. They are not accusing Ariwa, my people, that they are fueling the distance. So it's not about coming to register. The modern technology in security have provided drones. Nigerian police has helicopters. Air Force has small helicopters. As Madam said, you go line by line with the protesters wherever you find them. If there are those who are breaking the ranks, you identify them and go there and guard which facilities.
Infiltrators as well.
Infiltrators most of the time come from the security agency. I witnessed it myself. So what they should, in the social media now, there's thugs being shown in Lagos. I will advise the security agency to nip it in the bud. Look at whoever in the hoodrooms and who is sponsoring them. Because whoever is sponsoring them is a bandit. It's not helping matters. Because we can say there's no hunger. We can say that some youths that graduated 10 years ago have not gotten a job. We can say it's not painful. So what do we do as security agencies to guide them? Be at the sides. If anybody branches out, that is where you move. But don't just sit in your office and say they should come and register. Register what? If they should register, why don't you employ them? The Nigerian police was to recruit 10,000 every year, according to former President Buhari. Did they recruit it? They were fighting between police and the Police Service Commission, and they didn't recruit for 5 years. So who do you blame? So what we're saying is, if they're on their own, take on the gauntlet to come out on the street. Please guide them.
Okay.
Don't provoke them. Don't muzzle talks to attack them. And for the protesters, I will advise them that the battle has changed. For the first time, we should fight for adjustment of fuel price downwards. Because the 450,000 barrels is our own. For not selling it abroad, we should gain from not selling it abroad. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your contribution. This is how far we can go on this particular discussion, because we still have another topic of discuss this morning. So let me just thank you, Osita Okechukwu, former Director General, Voice of Nigeria. Thank you for your contribution on Good Morning Nigeria. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate.
Also, Dr. Getso, Yahuza Getso, security intelligence and investigation expert, who wears many caps. We want to thank you so much also for your thoughts this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And also Theresa Madueke, the Director of Public Enlightenment and Mass Mobilization National Orientation Agency, NOA. Thanks for coming on Good Morning Nigeria.
My pleasure always. Thank you so much.
All right. Okay, viewers, we'll take a break now. The conversation continues. The second conversation continues when we return. Stay with us.
The transmission towers, cables, and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipments will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
Meet lovebirds Jayola and Adama Davies. Their dream of living together as man and wife has finally been fulfilled.
The latest couple in town. Hey! Mr. and Mrs. Jaye Davis!
But an invasion by their troublesome families was not a scenario they bargained for. Her mother moves in. His mother shows up with his little niece. Then her younger sister joins the scramble.
You want to stay?
Married life suddenly becomes very complicated even before it started. Follow their story on this channel as they confront every challenge as it comes. Family forever, the story of our lives.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
Thanks for staying with us on Good Morning Nigeria. Now, as Nigeria strives for inclusive growth and sustainable development, the role of women in governance cannot be overstated. Yet, in spite of their contributions, women remain underrepresented in decision-making positions, and their voices often go unheard.
That's true, Victor. We are examining the state of gender-responsive governance in Nigeria. From the policies to the practices, we will also explore the successes, the challenges, and the opportunities for advancing gender equality in our nation's governance. And to discuss this issue with us, we have in the studio our guest already seated. Let me welcome Asmao Benziz Leo. She's the gender and development expert. Asmao, you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you. Good morning, viewer, and it's my pleasure to be here.
And we've also been joined here in the studio by Dr. Rekia Momo Abaji, retired civil servant. It's a pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, let me start with Asmao, who is a gender and development expert. Let's look at the current state of gender representation in Nigeria's governance structures and what efforts are being made to increase women's participation. Do you think enough efforts being made to increase women participation in governance in the country?
Thank you so much for this question. I really expected that to be asked. So I can say that not much has been done, truly, honestly, not much has been done. In fact, we see a decline, drastic decline in terms of women representation, especially in the parliament. 2011, it was higher. 2015, it came down. 2023, we saw how it became. Nigeria is one of the lowest in Africa and even one of the lowest in the world, with the statistics of just 3.62 representation of women. And remember, demographically, Nigerian women represent almost 50% of the population. That is almost close to 100 million in Nigeria, which is the size of a country or 2 or 3 countries merged together somewhere in the world. So we are not doing justice to Nigerian women. And if you look at capacity and the contribution of these women to governance, you will see that women are contributing a lot. But when it comes to us having the space to be in the boardroom, to be in decision making, that is where we are missing. So I think this is the time. There's no better time than now for Nigerians to begin to have this conversation, to discuss that we cannot continue to silence, or rather, marginalize more than half or close to half of our population if we truly and sincerely want to be amongst the top 20 economies in the world.
So what do you think is responsible for the low representation?
It's basically patriarchy, cultural stereotypes, and equally the money politics that we find ourselves. Politics is expensive. And for the fact that you're a woman, they will not say they will give you power on a platter of gold. So women also have to be prepared economically to contest, because no man will want to give it to you just because you're a woman. We have to compete favorably and take our position as women and then compete with them and ultimately get that position. Parents are not also helping matters. From childhood, a girl is taught not to aspire to be a leader. They see leadership as an exclusive right of men, which is not true. Anybody can be a leader. Everybody is a born leader, depending on the trajectory on how you develop yourself to be a leader. So, and sometimes you will bear me witness, Nigerian men, that we have had exceptional women leaders in this country that globally they can compete with anybody. Women such as our present World Trade Organization, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. We've had women presently Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations, Amina Mohammed, to mention so many women. Even myself and Dr. Rekia sitting here, we can just be in any position, I tell you the truth. Even as a president, have we had any better president than I? No. If you make me a president today, I think I will bring in some perspective that can move Nigeria forward.
But there lies the problem. Nobody held the president by the hand and said, come and be president. And let me ask Dr. Abaji. You see, women, I don't think, have been held back in any particular way. And I say this because, for instance, there is a Ministry of Women Affairs. There is none for the men. There is a Ministry of Women Affairs and the agencies under it for women. When you have the NUJ, the Nigerian Union of Journalists that we belong to, you have NAWOJ. Men didn't set it up for women. They set it up themselves. And there are instances on and on that we can give. And so I would rather ask, why are women not winning elections? Because I don't think there's any law that stops women from aspiring. And even when they aspire, most times, some parties give them free tickets. Some reduce the cost of it. This is support. Why are women not winning elections? The numbers are there. Women have the numbers. I don't think it's because somebody says, no, you can't be. Dr. Small wants us to take a woman by the hand and say, "We are going to sit down there." That's
no, I didn't say
I'm
that.
Sure.
If you remember,
I'm not sure that's what we are going to do.
That's not really the idea, that you take them by the hand.
Exactly.
The idea is that there isn't a level playing ground. For instance, why you have women, why you have NAWOJ, why you have Ministry of Women Affairs, it's on the assumption that women already stand at a disadvantage. The men have been on the seat for too long, and they are so comfortable being there that they are not willing to make spaces for new entrants. That is the reason why efforts are being made in Nigeria and around the world to create a level playing ground, to create a situation where there will be no hurdles placed in the way of women. You know, the way we look at the role of women in Nigeria is Nigerian women are a resource that is untapped. And if anyone is suffering, the country is suffering. The people are suffering because you have left 50%, in most cases, sometimes over 50% of your population just lying there. It's like a man who wants to lift a heavy load and you just tie one hand behind yourself and begin to use one hand to move the load. You will note that that is a very difficult situation to be in. So what we are saying is that the way politics is played in Nigeria, a lot of lip service is played to politics in Nigeria. For instance, even the fact of giving giving women free tickets becomes a disadvantage when they get onto the field. That's when you have, party juggernauts telling women, oh, after all, you didn't even pay anything for this ticket. Why don't you step down for this person? Women are the ones who are always asked to step down because the playing ground is not okay. It's not level for everyone.
The current, the current Minister of Women Affairs was an aspirant. She was a presidential aspirant.
Yeah.
She didn't get that. She opted. Nobody pressured her to step down. Today she's Minister of Women Affairs. Can't we, can't we play at that level? Aim for it.
We can play at any level. The point we are making is that it doesn't even have to be at a situation where you will step down. She stepped down for good reasons. Willingly. She must have calculated the environment. Other people are stepping down. And she probably also would have looked at... The thing about politics is that you should also be in a position to assess where you are going to win. And if you are not going to win, you can bargain. You can bargain with people. Maybe what she did was bargaining for that position. And I expect that it's smart. And I expect that she will continue to move from there and aspire for other positions. But what we want to frown against is, look, we have Nigerian women who are competent. In the past, we used to say, oh, the education is their disadvantage. Many women are very, very highly educated as we speak in Nigeria. And we are thinking that the country, the people at the helm of affairs should engage these resources that we have so that we are using all our resources instead of piling up one half unused.
Would you say, let me just stay with you, would you say they are cultural, because of our cultural background has really contributed immensely to this, low representation of women in governance? How can we tackle this?
You see, we have been discussing this cultural background for a long time, and we are all quite aware of it. In fact, like my sister Asma said, women are also responsible for some of these things in the way we bring up our children. For instance, the boy knows that, he must be part of a team. The girl is taught to remain in the kitchen, take care of the house and what have you. But time has come. There are women who have male children and have brought them up to fit into all the roles. That is a question of role playing, and anyone can play any role depending on how they are acculturized. As it is, women now know, all of us, we now know that by the way we bring up our girls and our boys, we put our girls at a disadvantage. And so women like Asma and I are consciously making amends to tell our girl children that they are part of the game. They can be part of the game. They are qualified. They are equipped to be part of the game. And that is where we should head, even in our policies.
Okay. All right. As well, what can be done?
Okay, go ahead.
What more can be done to ensure that women become, better positioned, or at least, if not at par, but become better positioned? What can men in particular do?
Depending on the context you're looking at. But let me restrict myself to politics. Politically, we need political mentoring. Most women that venture into politics have no mentorship. Some of them just came in because a father or a godfather or somebody that has been within the political terrain held your hand and said, okay, I will sponsor you, just take a ticket, or I will buy the form for you, just go and contest. You don't win politics like this. Let us look at developed countries. The women that are in politics today or ruling the world, how did they emerge? They didn't emerge from the blues. They were trained, they were mentored, they have the capacity, they have everything it takes to be there. That is why we always have women being targeted when they get to. We have a lot of cases, I don't want to mention names, that eventually when you become either elected or appointed in positions, you are targeted as a woman because The capacity to even remain is one thing for you to emerge, and is one thing to remain, maintain, and be sustained in a political position. There are many dynamics, and these dynamics are, like Hajia Rekia said, for ages, women have been in this game, men have been in this game. So women, you are just coming into this space. There are certain things you need to look out for, and there are certain informations, capacity that you need to acquire. It's just like going to school. In primary school, what you will know, in secondary school, what you will know is different from being a graduate. So this is how Nigerian women are evolving to be where we are. We've been silenced, we've been marginalized for a very long time. And now that we are where we are, Nigerian women don't want to take no for an answer. I tell you the truth. We want to be there. We just don't want to be seen. We want to also be heard. We want to make our input. We want to be there when decisions, especially decisions affecting our lives as women, decisions affecting the lives of our family, even decisions affecting the life of the nation. If we happen to be much in population, then we also need to contribute to the betterment of this country. And so we think we bring a better perspective in governance. Believe you me, a woman in the house advises a man better. And any man that doesn't listen to his wife, you know the outcome. So we will bring that kind of perspective, not just from the domestic sphere, but evolving to the public space, whereby the natural intuition for making things better, for organization, for having things done in a proper manner, I think there's no better position than that to be given to a woman.
When you say mentorship,
yeah,
what do you expect?
I expect that you learn the intrigues, you learn the political structures, you learn street credibility, you learn what it takes for you to aspire, you learn what it means to even...
But many are not willing to take these baby steps. They just want to be up there.
That's what I am saying. I'm talking about the women from the perspective of the women.
They have to
learn.
You
know, we have to learn. But learning does not mean you have to start from down to... You can still be in that position, but also learn the dynamics. But some of us are so, I don't want to use the word careless. We are so at ease. The moment you get position, you think that is the ultimate. But not knowing that you are dining in a very slippery terrain. And if you are not careful, that is how the carpet will be pulled off your feet. And that's how we see women being dragged.
So I think one of the challenges that people have noted in the past is that women don't even support women when it comes to politics. I could remember there was one election that there is this woman that contested for presidential, Sarah Jibril. She did not even get one vote. The only vote she got was for herself.
But there were women.
There were women at the convention.
This is the usual narrative. I always
say.
One woman, one vote. We are tired of hearing this.
Happened?
After Sarah Jibril.
So what happened? Is it that the women, the literate women, don't really carry along the grassroots women because they are the one actually participating in politics? The grassroots. You don't go to the grassroots because that's what the men do. They go to the grassroots, they will galvanize the people at the grassroots, and before you know it, they will sweep the election. But you sit down in your office.
I think that these are stories of the past. And sometimes they say when something is repeatedly said, it begins to look like what it is.
Okay, so
women have come a long way from that.
Okay.
For instance, she was talking about learning the process. We have come from where women didn't even know what aspects of the process to learn. They now know. And the upcoming generation now know that we have women who are role models, who are doing well, and that women are able to do well. For instance, I was a caretaker chairman at Jakarta local government during the Abdulsalam regime. And I happen to know that if you know your onions, nobody looks down on you. The way that we teach our children, our girl child to cook, we don't teach them to participate in politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have come to that stage where we know that these things have to be learned. And the women who have the audacity to go into politics now, know that they need to learn some
Maybe the
things.
mothers that are teaching the girls to cook, they are not even into politics. They don't even understand politics. So
You
it
see
will
what
be
I
difficult
mean?
for them
Yeah.
to teach.
So the
their
numbers
girls
have
politics.
increased. The numbers have increased. Of awareness. Awareness is being generated.
So would you say the role of the, let's look at the role of the civil society organization and advocacy groups. Are they really actually assisting, you know, in creating this awareness?
Please, let me step in. Sorry, Hajia, let me step into this. You asked a question that I wouldn't want us to just allow it slide. The aspect of women not supporting women. That narrative also has to change.
Yeah.
Because if you create stories and it becomes a narrative that every time people use it against us women. One thing I know is that I am a woman and I support a woman. Unless that woman does not have credibility. If the woman has capacity, the woman has credibility, she has competence to be where she is, why shouldn't I vote for her? Yeah. And that is the need. And remember, like we all mentioned here, culture. Culture plays a greater role in the emergence of every woman in political space. Your father, religious leaders will tell you in the tenet of our religion, in some religions, they will say a woman is not supposed to lead a man. A man cannot follow a woman. God created a man to always be ahead and the women should follow. And you know, most of the women, like you mentioned, in the grassroots are not even educated in the both in the religious tenets and also in formal education. So whatever the man says stands, especially if he's a highly revered man, like the emir, the chief, the religious priest, and everybody. They listen. And so no matter how a woman is competent, if they come to the women in the house and say, oh, we don't want you to vote that woman, our religion forbids it. We don't want you in our culture. No woman has ever become ahead of a man. Even in this house, I am the head. So what you do is you follow me to the polls. Whoever I vote for is who you will vote for. If not, I will divorce you. And some of these threats, what do you expect a woman to do?
So how do we begin to change the narrative?
So,
I think that as they begin to know, and as we have role models women who have shown that they can do it, that will begin to relax. And then also the women will tell the story in a different way as well. When you put them together and tell them, oh no, this doesn't happen. If the woman comes to them also and tries to socialize them, tell them, enlighten them on what should happen, we should be able to differentiate between politics as a role, a woman as a wife, a woman as a mother. In politics, you are going there to play a particular role for the betterment of society. Women have what they bring to the table. For instance, a house where the woman is literate of some sort, you will expect that the children will even fare better in their schoolwork. They will fare better in their livelihood because they have a role model, then they get examples, then they get teachings as to how the world should move. And so the narrative will not continue to stay. People are being sensitized to know that that is not how it should be.
Yes, coming to the civil society contribution. Sorry, I'm not cutting you. It's very important because I belong to that constituency. Okay, and so a lot has to be done. And, you know, even for the level of awareness to where we are today, the civil society plays a huge role from the military regime to where we are today. I know a lot of women that have fought for this to happen. And that is why we are standing on the shoulder of giants, women who have risked their life, being in prison for speaking up for women to be involved in governance. So without the civil society, I don't know how the Nigerian political terrain would have been. So we need to also appreciate the sacrifices, the contributions of civil society organizations through awareness creation. There has been sensitization within the community, both at the grassroots, at the national level, engaging the policy makers to see that there has to be domestication of laws, treaties, and international conventions that speaks to the aspect of women empowerment across the world. And you see, even the mobilization in terms of, mobilizing women to come together, to seek, to demand for their rights in terms of representation. If not for the civil society, I don't know who will have done it. And Nigerians wouldn't be conscientized to see the need for women to participate in governance. So I think all these things is a contribution hugely to what the civil society organization, especially women-led organizations, that have
also talking about civil society organizations in 2022, about leaders of about 9 non-governmental organizations challenged the 35% affirmative action in the High Court. And there was a ruling that, you know, women who are competent, we are not just asking for, you know, engage women as per women. Women who have shown competence, women who are educated, women who know how to do these things, they should be on board. We have the policy that asks for 35% of all appointive and elective positions to be given to women, to be occupied by women, not given, occupied by women.
Because I was going to challenge that.
Occupied by women. Yeah. But we still stand at 5 point something. Yeah.
I think we should begin.
We are not moving at all.
I think we should begin with appointment, because when you say elective, you have to win an election. Nobody is going to say, okay, because you're a woman, go and it becomes appointing for you just because you're a woman. And so begin with appointments. And unfortunately, appointments, for instance, from the president's perspective, maybe, you want to reward those who contributed to your elections at the high level. Yes, you may say that the women are not in a position to contribute at that level, but why not let's take it step by step? Some will argue that you are not doing badly, that you are making progress.
Of course.
I'll give you, for instance, when Sarah Jibril contested, she was made an SSA.
Yes.
When Uju Kennedy Ohanenye contested, she became a minister. Tomorrow, even America just has a first female vice president. It is yet to have a first president. And so, how patient can we be? She's running. I'm not talking about now.
Okay.
As of today.
She's going to be president.
And you can run.
Yeah,
so how can we consolidate? How can we consolidate from where we are without rushing things?
We are not rushing anywhere. We are not rushing. We are taking what rightfully belongs to us. The aspect of saying we should start from appointive, no. Countries, let me cite a country like Rwanda that we use as a model for women representation. Rwanda women are more than the men in parliament. And what brought about this kind of increase is because there is a legal framework for women to participate. The same thing was introduced to the Ninth Assembly. There were 5 gender bills that were introduced, and one of them is the one of the affirmative action that we're talking about this morning. And what happened to it? Not one was able to pass the second reading. They were all thrown out. I can remember vividly the 1st of March 2021.
Why?
Because men felt if given that opportunity for women, I remember what Honorable Budaje, one honorable, I don't want to mention his name, I quickly mentioned, but let me retrieve. He said, yeah, if Nigerian women, the way they are strong in the house, strong everywhere, by the time they give them that position, that they will take over the country. And you know what? The man is being sincere, honestly sincere, to voice out his fears, outwardly, to say, okay, this is what the men are afraid of. And I think I tend to align with his line of thinking. The Nigerian men are not comfortable. If you give us that, they feel if you give us that 111, 100 is a short.
That's blanket.
That's blanket. Okay, it might be an assumption, but prove us wrong. Let the 5 gender bills be reintroduced in the 10th Assembly. Let it be passed into law. Let 101 seats be created for women. Let women like myself, Dr. Asmau, Ambassador Asmau, Dr. Rekia occupy that position. And then let us have that enabling playing ground, that environment.
But some of the things that have been said against these gender bills is that, look, people say we have a bloated parliament, and then you introduce 109 more.
Can we negotiate? Can we negotiate?
Yeah. We are not looking for 109 more. We should be part of the number.
Okay.
We are not asking you to create.
Who will say, I give you my seat?
We have 3 senatorial zones in each of the states, right? Let me give you the permutation. We have 3 senatorial zones.
Seconds,
so can we say,
out of time.
Okay, we have 3 senatorial zones in each of the states. Can we say in each of these senatorial
zones, that gives
one space? 2 can be male, 1.
Which of them? That would be a crisis. Which of the 3 senatorial seats should be given to a woman?
It can be negotiated.
If I'm a senator, I will say not mine. Give it to the other one.
Victor.
No, it can be agreed.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Leo, for
Yes.
coming on Good Morning Nigeria. It's always a pleasure to engage you, especially when we talk at these gender issues.
You know, the Millennium Development Goals, they were instituted.
We're out of time.
We've run out of time.
Okay.
So, Dr. Rukia Momo Abaji, retired civil servant, we thank you very much for your time and contribution. And I pray that all of you keep being strong at home, here and there. Someday you'll be strong in politics, and then you will get there.
Not someday, not a
So that's the program. Thank you for watching. I am Victor, so I'll see you again.
All right, I'm Demola Adio. Thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow. Bye.